So we talked about, you know, setting these up to mimic AR-15s and why you would choose this over like a 1022. Well, a 1022's got completely different ergonomics. And arguably, we'll talk about magazines in a little bit, but arguably the 1522 magazines are the best in the business. But these are trainers, so that's what they're set up for. The familiarity, it's the same fire control groups, the same like bolt release, mag release, everything like that. You can add aftermarket grips, stocks. You know, I have it set up to be similar like my 16-inch AR-15 because that's what it was meant to mimic. And then you can run the same gear as what you would normally run. So like on my belt, I can run, you know, I run these mags. They take the same gear slots as a regular AR-15 mag. They're the same size, so I can run reps instead of just doing dry fire reps. I can run these and be able to get some live fire in and still be able to mimic without the cost, you know, of an AR-15. So you might say, why? Well, I can just dry fire instead of just buying this. Well, this is like a step in between your full live fire with an AR-15 and doing some dry firing. Dry firing only goes so far. It doesn't reset the bolt for you, and it doesn't give you any sort of recoil, even though 22 recoil is really small. So this is kind of like the in-between step in between dry firing and actual like shooting an AR-15, but you still get live fire practice in just less recoil. And then let's get into this specific 1522, and then we'll also talk about this one as well. So this one, I added some aftermarket extras. The stock that comes with the bone stock 1522 is garbage, and so I replaced it with this one. And this is like I think it's a knockoff Bravo company one that's like 20 or 30 bucks, so not expensive. I got the standard charging handle. Raptor does make an aftermarket one for the 1522, so you can get an extended charging handle, but it's not a big deal to me. I'm trying to put as little money into this as possible. Magpul sling. And then I've got an MOE Plus grip. One of those Magpul Plus grips. I like the overmold feel. And then BCM Foregrip. And then I got this light on it. I think it's a Monstrum tactical light. And it comes with a pressure pad. It was like 20 or 30 bucks. And the whole reason was to mimic running the pressure pad. And it's not a very bright light, but it's running the pressure pad because I have it set up like that on my 16-incher. And so that's why I put that on there. And then the scope is like, I think it's Feyachi. It was like a $90 scope. And then the Monstrum scope mount was like 30 bucks. So altogether, I think I have like $550 with everything into this gun. And so yeah, so that's mine. And then this is a buddy of mine. So he's a wrong-handed setup. So he put an aftermarket bolt release on that side. And I think we looked it up and you can run an aftermarket left-handed safety. So for those of you that are wrong-handed, they still take care of you. So he's set up for a lefty. He's got a K2 grip. He's got an aftermarket, like $30 stock. So really cheap. Magpul AFG, MOE flip-ups. So I think his model that he got came with the flip-ups. The model that I got came with the Smith & Wesson red dot. And I sold that thing on eBay for like 70 bucks. So that helped fund getting a scope instead, which the scope is light years ahead of the red dot that comes with it. It's a really garbage tier red dot. So, and then he's got the MSR, which is another good option. You can find these on sale for 99 bucks all over. And I would say Borelli's a really good website for that. They have frequent sales on the MSR. So let's see, what else do we want to talk about on these? Let me go through. Okay. So let's go into The 1522, okay, reliability. So between the two of these, I think we've got probably about 3,000 to 4,000 rounds between the two of us on our 1522s. He said on his, he hasn't had a jam yet that he can remember. And I clean mine less than him. So inherent to all 22s is they get jammed up real easy. They get gunked up with all sorts of crap because 22 ammo is inherently just really dirty, crappy ammo. And if we're trying to do, you know, as cheap as we can go, we're going to run the cheap crap through it. You're not going to run CCI every time where it's costing you, like right now, CCI is like 18 cents a round. So it's almost like what Steel Case 223 was a year and a half ago. So it's not worth it. So as far as I've gone, I think I've gotten like probably like 10 jams. And it's just because after a while it gets gunked up with crap. If you keep yours nice and lubed up and nice and clean, then it's probably one of the most functionally reliable semi-automatic 22s out there. The action is really small and it does a really good job. And then these magazines along with that are really good. So these magazines they feed really well. They feed the ammo up really well. And then when you feed them, you just pull down and you load a new one in. And for 22, they do great. And so that's why our other buddy set his up to actually take 1522 mags. So we'll get into that in a second. Oh yeah. So 1522 is all polymer construction minus the, let's see, the triggers metal, and then the chamber and barrel are metal. And I think that's about it. The safety's plastic, the takedown pins are metal, but everything else is plastic. And so I guess that's a negative too, is just the lightweight. They're just not gonna be as heavy, but you know, the buffer tube has a little thing that you can pull out on the end. And so if you really wanted to, you could put some weights in there just to kind of mimic some of the heaviness of the 1522. So that's on that one. Oh yeah. And then just one more thing with the 1522. So the aftermarket, because the 1522 is one of the oldest, it is the oldest, I think, of the mimicking the AR-15, that there's just a ton of aftermarket support. I think, what are their names? They make the 22 suppressor.
Silencer Co.
No.
Dead Air.
Gemtech. So Gemtech makes an integrally suppressed upper. So you can just buy the upper from Gemtech. You know, you pay your $200 tax stamp, and it's an integrally suppressed all the way. So it's actually really dope looking. I kind of want to get my hands on that. And I think it's fairly reasonable too on price. I think it's like $400 or $500, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, you could run an integrally suppressed all the way. So it's pretty cool. So lots of aftermarket support. So then we have the Cmmg. So the Cmmg is, it's all AR-15 parts minus the barrel, I think, is the only thing that's not. And then obviously the bolt carrier group. So in order to convert your AR-15 to this, all you have to do is throw in this Cmmg 22 bolt carrier group, and you're good to go. Put that back in. And you can actually throw that in on any AR-15. And then, but you do have to run the Cmmg mags. So you can go this route if you want to practice with, and you don't want to have to go through setting up a whole nother rifle. You can throw this in your rifle, the Cmmg bolt carrier group. And then what you can also do is add the, what's the name of the brand?
Better Mag, something like that.
Better Mag, something like that. Anyway, it converts your AR-15 to be able to run 1522 mags. So even though our buddy here isn't running the 1522. He still wants the 1522 mags because they're just like, everybody loves them. And they're really available. I think you can find them from like 20 to 25 bucks for the best mags, which is, I mean, if you're running a 1022, I think like the best mags from Ruger are like 25 to 30 bucks anyway. So you might as well run this. And then as far as reliability on this, I think our buddy was saying that sometimes on the bolt, I just took that out and I'm putting it back in. Awesome. So he was saying every couple hundred rounds, a casing will get stuck underneath the charging handle and the bolt, and you can't just pull the charging handle back to eject it. You have to get in there with your finger and push that back physically into the chamber and then pull out the thing because it gets caught up under there. So that's the only reliability issues we've had with that. So it's pretty reliable. All right. And then he has a 22 barrel in it because he set this up for a 22, and then just a barrel shroud. UTG flip-ups, which I've heard they're actually pretty good flip-ups for the money, pretty cheap. And then the Vortex Strikefire 2, which is a pretty beefy optic. It's really, really solid of an optic for like 200 bucks they usually run, and to like 150. You can find them on sale on Palmetto's website every once in a while for I think like 150 to 170, somewhere in there. But really solid optic. A little bit beefier than your micro red dots. If you want to be tactical like me, you gotta work like me. That's why I'm doing push-ups.